Some of you have been asking about, hey Jim, what's going on with the $3 million challenge? You haven't talked about it in a while. What's up with that? And today on the episode, we're going to talk about the $3 million challenge, what's going on with it, but more importantly, the big announcement we have: we acquired a company.
You cannot invent and pioneer if you cannot accept failure.
We wanted people that were insanely great at what they did.
Nobody was making any money at all. Most people thought the internet was going to be a fad.
Let's get into it. Now, the $3 million challenge, what was this thing? What is this thing? Are we still doing it? Yes and no. I would say we're doing it, but we're changing the way we're approaching it. So the $3 million challenge was, hey, we have this growth agency called Growth It. If we're so good, why can't we grow our own stuff, right? Sounds easy enough. So we did that. We started building in public. We obviously grew our agency Growth It to be a seven-figure business, hit that milestone, probably 4 years ago. We then stood up a productized service called One Day Design, which is doing conversion-focused websites within a day. And that one's still going. We have hit six figures. We're kind of mid six figures with that. But the truth is, there was so much connection to that in our agency. We've actually made that an entry product for the agency. So that one's still going. I don't think that's going to hit seven figures this year or next, because we end up selling Growth Hit products once people get in with One Day Design. What was the third company? It was a direct consumer brand, Handsome Chaos. And that one stings. That one hurts because we validated this idea. We stood up a website. We interviewed potential customers. We actually created ads, and we sold a product that didn't exist. And we got a lot of sales. So we're like, perfect. All we got to do is manufacture the product. That shouldn't be hard. Turns out making products really freaking hard when all you know is digital marketing. And we made a product we really liked. Turns out it was really hard to scale it and to source the ingredients. We had to do a reformulation. We're still in the process of that. So I'm calling that a fail. I'm calling that a loss. Could it still happen? Are we still doing the reformulation? Sure, we're pushing that down the road, but I want to move quickly. I want to be decisive. And we've decided that we're calling that startup something that is not going to work. Now, what is the lesson learned from all of this? For me, the lesson learned is, do you know your strengths and do you know your weaknesses? For us, we know our strengths. We're good at building websites. We're good at marketing. We're good at processes and systems. What are we bad at? Obviously, manufacturing. We're not necessarily proven in fulfillment and operations when it comes to physical products. So how do we still make this startup studio work based on our unfair advantages and our weaknesses? And that's when the idea of acquisition entrepreneurship came into play. So what does that mean? It's like, why do this hard thing of going from 0 to 1? Because that's impossible if you think about it, because 90% of startups fail, right? So you're really setting yourself up to go through a lot of hardship. Instead, acquire a company that's gone from 0 to 1, has traction, has product market fit, but they need help growing. They need help scaling. So with that in mind, we started pointing our eyes on this idea of acquisition entrepreneurship. We started sourcing companies. We started talking to people. We just put the word out there that, like, hey, we're open for business. We would like to buy a company or partner with one. And all of those attempts of cold outreach, they were not fruitful. But just by being vocal and talking to people, something happened in a very serendipitous way. So about around this summer, we met a company that was a client of ours at Growth Hit. They have a really impressive brand, but then they launched a side brand, the Side Company, and it has an amazing product, but they were just busy. They weren't able to give it the attention it needed, so it just sat there. And as we got to know each other, we learned about this product, and we're like, man, we would love to take a crack at it. We want to be owners in this company and be on the hook for driving sales and for driving profits. So what's the company? The company is Neat Apparel. It's a men's essential brand that makes sweat-proof shirts. And what's the most impressive about it is it has this IP, this intellectual property that was actually devised by a PhD for the military. It was this material made for soldiers that are going into the desert that they start sweating a lot and they didn't want to ruin the clothes to make them wet. That has bad implications on health and performance. So it's this technology, it's a treatment on a shirt. So when you sweat, the sweat actually like runs down it and off of it so your shirt doesn't get wet, and most importantly, you're not showing sweat stains. So while it actually ended up not being used for soldiers in combat, we saw it's like, wait, that'd be amazing to wear if you're on a first date or you're doing a presentation and you don't want to be some sweaty mess whenever you're with a date or you're doing that presentation. So we loved it for the intellectual property. And as they launch this, what's really impressive is they have all these early adopters that are just in love with the product. They're actually sold out of everything because they haven't done a rebuy and people were begging for it. But again, this company was busy running the other brands. They needed help. So as we come in, we started to do due diligence around it. Like I said, we talked to customers. I spoke to about 20, did interviews with them, did surveys, did an assessment of the actual IP to understand, is there a true moat here? The other things that I like about this, I'm not a huge fan of acquiring a fashion brand. I don't like fast fashion. I don't like trends. I don't like return rates. But here's what I liked. One, it's a men's essentials brand, which means it's a lot of classic, timeless clothes that you will buy. Two, the male persona, they can be hard because a lot of times they're more reactive than proactive. However, with male personas, usually once they find a brand they like, they stick with that brand for a very, very long time. The third thing that I liked, there is actually a B2B and a B2C play here. Obviously, the business to consumer play is a direct to consumer company selling through Shopify, eventually Amazon, and will go wholesale. But with the intellectual property, there's other brands that want to license the technology to have this treatment on the shirts, to use this fabric. And so that's an exciting opportunity, and that you can monetize it a couple different ways through licensing or through the direct to consumer model. The other thing that I like, there's so many direct to consumer brands that are copycats or are nice to haves. This is a true must have that is solving a problem for people that are in hot climates or people that run hot. Also love that there is really strong margins on this, and most importantly, high recurring revenue. This isn't an acquisition-based product like Casper mattress, where you buy a mattress every 7 years. Ideally, you're going to be buying, once a quarter, once a month, depending on the persona. So it really checked all those boxes we liked for a consumer company. The next thing was, okay, we like the brand, we'd use it ourselves. Check two. It crosses, all of the check marks as far as it's something that falls into our investment thesis. The next thing was, do we align and work well with this team? What was exciting is they were already a client of ours at Growth Hit, so we knew how we worked well together. So we were able to kind of pass what we call the no jerks policy test quite well. And then finally, could we come to terms on this? And so with the setup of the deal, there's a combination of equity and preferred shares, and also being aligned with what's the goal with this company. Is it, hey, let's make cash and like pay ourselves out, or hey, as we make money, let's invest it back into the company and grow and really try and build something big and special. And so we're opting obviously for that second option. And so everything kind of aligned as we were going through this together, to where it was kind of a no-brainer decision to work together. So the next big question is, how are we approaching like taking over this brand and what we do? And so I'm putting it into kind of three phases of, post acquisition. Phase one is discovery, where I'm not trying to do anything big. I'm just trying to shut up and listen, talk to customers, understand the landscape to really build like a customer centric approach to growth. The second thing is what I'm calling infrastructure, where we're understanding, hey, the website, how is it converting? How is it driving traffic? How is the retention strategy with emails and SMS? Do we feel good about how everything is running from the traffic platforms we're using on paid and non-paid? And then the third component, that's where it gets fun and we get into growth and scale. And so we actually already started that with, we acquired the company right as we're going to Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and I couldn't resist, and we had to participate there. And so that was fun. We saw probably the best month of the year in November, and that was like 5 days after acquiring the company, just really taking advantage of the existing email list and monetizing that to put the word out there. And so that's the company, Need Apparel. That's how we're approaching it. So what should you expect with the $3 million challenge in this new company? So we thought it would be more fun to make the $3 million challenge more focused and just focus on one company. So whether it's the $1 million challenge or whatever we want to call it, we're going to be building in public with how we're growing this new company we just acquired. We're going to be sharing everything. We're doing a brand redesign, and we're going to talk through, we're factoring in when doing the brand redesign. We're also talking about our activation strategy. This is a product that is in a crowded, saturated market of men's fashion. How do you compete? A lot of people are going to be switching. That's the goal, to switch from one brand to ours. And so we have a very aggressive strategy in how we're doing that. So we're going to showcase what we call offer-led growth and how we're pulling that off. Right now, we're building out probably 20 different ad campaigns and the different formulas we do there. We're going to show all the ads that we're doing. We just enlisted our SEO team to build out the keyword strategy, going after people looking for sweat-proof shirts, the best shirt to wear when golfing, the best shirt to wear when hiking. What is your new work week wardrobe? Really trying to capitalize on that. We're also going to be showcasing, how we're running growth. We're already doing planning for next year, building out our growth calendar. So hopefully that can be helpful. And I would love to get feedback on what you would want to learn or have us share as we're looking to build this and grow this and do some big and exciting things. But that's what's ahead as far as doing updates on this new company that we acquired. And hopefully this is the first of a few. So look forward to sharing everything we're doing with this one and along the way. And by the way, just for listening today, you can go to needapparel.com and just type in the code podcast, and we'll give you 20% off to test out a product. Let me know what you think, and then you can email me directly. If you like it, would love to hear about it. If you don't like it, return it. We'll give you your money back. But it's just needapparel.com and use the code podcast. And I would love to hear from you and get your candid feedback and thoughts on it. But much more to come on this company acquired and what we're building in public.